Is up, everybody? We are back for another episode of The Real and the Rare. I'm your host, as always, Steven Rychel, being joined this afternoon by my good friend, the Redneck himself, Mr. David Mundell, BKFC World Middleweight Champion. How are you feeling this afternoon, my friend?
I'm on top of the world, man.
You are, and as always, I always appreciate your guys' time. I always say this at the beginning of the episode. Really appreciate all the athletes who lend me their ears for their afternoons, their evenings, however it works out. So really appreciate you hopping on with us this afternoon, my friend.
Of course, brother. I appreciate you having me as well.
Hey, listen, man. Yeah, been supporting your career for a while. Yeah, I was really hoping to see you get put on that Knucklemania card here in Philadelphia on February 7th. Didn't work out that way, but definitely wanted to talk to you about it. One, obviously Knucklemania is kind of BKFC Super Bowl for all intents and purposes. You're in this weird position right now where the memory serves me, the guy that's ranked number one in your division according to BKFC, you've already beaten. The guy you want to fight's been making every excuse under the sun for the last 3.5 years to not fight you. What's next, dude? Like, who do you want to fight? Like, if you're the matchmaker and you're making the perfect match right now, who would you want to see name on that contract slid across from you?
I mean, obviously, the biggest name out there right now that makes sense for fighting me is Perry. There's no reason why this shouldn't have already been put up. He's the only one in the division that anyone thinks that even has a slight chance of winning, even though I'll make that fight just look easy, just like I did all my other ones, But outside of him, there's nobody left in my division. I've completely cleared it out. And until some of these other newer guys get a little bit more experience underneath their belt, it doesn't even make sense. So from there, only thing that I think really makes sense is maybe jumping up a weight class, go up to 185, snag that belt there. I'll even jump all the way up to 205 and take that belt.
Now you just brought up Mike, so I got to bring this up. Like, his only recent news that came out was him going on his little podcast and crying about that he may have to retire because his accountant made some silly mistakes and he owes $800K in taxes. I'm sorry, but if my lawyer, my business partner, whoever made that mistake, I'm not retired. I'm looking for a reason to get in there ASAP. So. First off, what are your thoughts on this? Obviously, like, listen, it's a fight game. It's a dirty business. What goes on behind the scenes, 9 times out of 10, the good people that are involved in this sport are few and far between. Not going to beat up Mike over that, but just I guess the way he's going about the conversation about this, I guess I'm not a fan of. When, like, you have this is a big fight. If you two get booked together,
Yeah.
He gets to actually say he's a world champion, not a king of violence nonsense. He actually gets to put a real belt to his name, but for whatever reason, he don't want to sign that contract. So,
outside of what people think, the organization deems me pound for pound number one. I am the best pound for pound bare knuckle fighter in the world. I am the current 175-pound champ. I'm in his weight class. If he wants to level up, I'm that level. He may have more fans than I do. He's better known, but that's because BKFC has made him. He came from UFC, but nobody knew him when he was there. He was trash. He comes to BKFC, he's tough. He gets beat up. He's still able to dish out a little bit of punishment, so people love him. Perfect. Let's make this fight happen. There's no reason why it shouldn't be happening. There's history. There's a story. It'll sell. It's big.
And there's a couple things that you mentioned there. One, like, he has a name, but as you stated, like, he wasn't the biggest name when he was in the UFC. His thing was he was a gladiator, so to speak. He'd be the guy that would go out on his shield, and a lot of people respect kind of that grit, that heart, stuff like that. So yeah, it doesn't make sense. Now I'm gonna put something out there. So this doesn't happen, right? Is the next step the baddest man on the man tournament that's coming up at the beginning of next year, $25 million tournament? Is that something that piques your interest?
Oh, of course. There's not a goddamn person in this world that I fear. You know, I feel like I got a fair chance with anybody. I don't care how much you weigh. There's always something.
Yeah, definitely. We gotta clip that one. We got a new program here on StreamYard. We just say clip that, it automatically does it for us. Gotta love the way AI works now. I hate AI for the most part, but this is one of the things I do like. So, um, I would like to see you in that tournament. Like obviously there's a lot of bad guys, lot of tough SOBs that currently reside in BK under BKFC contract. But that's something I would like to see you do. Now they've been doing some fun stuff with their social media, and I got to put it on it. Like obviously the Christmas list thing came out with you out there, right?
No, let's go back to that real quick. To talk about fucking disrespect, they put that out there. I wasn't a part of it. I had my girlfriend make that and put it out there for my damn self. That's some bullshit right there.
That's
Let that be known. Clip that.
That's them catering, and we get it. Like, listen, every promoter is gonna have fighters, male or female, that they tend to like. They tend to push more than whatever.
I don't even think they like him. They just done spent so much damn money on his ass that they're trying to squeeze every little thing they can back out of him. He's got a name. They got to use him. But guess what? You feed him to me, I whoop his ass. Everyone who was watching him because they thought he was such a badass realizes that he ain't shit and that I'm the badass. And then boom, you're right back to where you were. And I'm guarantee I'm a hell of a lot cheaper than he is. At least at the moment.
Hey, listen, exactly, and that's why I got a lot of respect for you. You want the toughest fights. You don't want to mess with the little guppies that are swimming around right now. Obviously,
Legacy fights, man. Legacy fights. I don't want filler fights. But I don't know how many of these I got left. You know, not saying by any means anytime soon. But let's just be realistic. It's not a sport that you can stay in and keep fighting for your entire life. Like you got a short window compared to your entire life of opportunity to go in there and get shit done. I don't want to fight these guys who are 2-0 and 3-0. I want these big names that move the needle, that show people who I am, that prove my skill set, and it's simple. Legacy fights.
I don't blame you. Like, listen, you're riding an 8-fight win streak. 5 of those wins come via KO or TKO. It makes sense to find those fights for you. I don't care. You know, if Mike doesn't want to do it, well, let's find another name that isn't under contract and have them come in and have them fight you. They did the same thing with Alessio Sakara. They gave, you know, he was a name outside of the promotion for the longest time. They have him come in. They have him fight Chris Camozzi, which made sense. That and injecting some life into a division that not a whole lot of people know about, support, things of that nature. So if that's the case, let's find somebody in your weight class that isn't in the promotion. If Mike doesn't want to sign the contract, and let's put together one of these fights.
Yeah, I gotta make something happen, man. It's been 6 months now since I fought. My last fight was 8 months before I finally got that fight, and to me, it's just crazy. Like I'm active. I'm always training, and I'm ready to go. Like it shouldn't be this long between fights. I should be fighting minimum 2 times a year, but I'd like to do 3, maybe even 4. Like I don't see why you guys can't make that happen.
And listen. I'm not here bashing anyone, but when I talk to a lot of the athletes that are involved with it, and that's the only gripe I hear, is that you guys have this long lull in between fights, whether it be 6 months. Some I've heard fighters year and a half. It is probably the only thing that you have to deal with a growing promotion like this. Obviously, you get a lot of new names in there. Some of the guys get lucky, and then they do wind up getting 2 to 3 fights a year. But 1 to 2 fights a year for your world champion, I think, is ridiculous. Regardless if it makes dollars, makes sense type of thing. Find somebody in there, put somebody in there, and let's see you do your thing. Let's see you you make some more highlight reels, things of that nature. However it happens.
Somebody to add to the list. This is, like I said, it's crazy. I'm ready to go. It's been entirely too long. Got the itch. I'm training my ass off. Nobody wants to train this hard for this long with no reward. I'm looking forward. I'm ready. Anybody from 175 to 205, they can get it.
That's why I love you, brother. You don't care about the name as long as it makes sense and it's a challenge for you. Now, came across like some stuff to going on there. You were just talking about training. Obviously, you do some personal training, coaching and stuff like that. What do you get more joy out of? Do you enjoy getting in there and competing, or do you like sharing the knowledge with some of the young and up and coming talent, younger kids, etc.?
A little bit of both. It goes both ways. I love coaching and stuff. I just can't really do that to the capacity that I know that I should when you have somebody else's career in your hands, so to speak. So until I can focus and dedicate myself to somebody, I don't have a business teaching them, to do any of this. Once I'm done fighting, then I'll be there. But also, right now, obviously, as long as I can, I love fighting. I'm here to do it.
I don't think there is like it's one of the things I do talk a lot of like the the thing that happens when a combat sports athlete, whether we're talking bare knuckle, MMA, boxing, whatever, the walk out, the go out there and performs, a couple thousand, hundreds of thousands, etc. Is there anything on this earth that can feel to that emotion that goes through you when you guys go out there and compete?
That is a roller coaster. It's crazy. All the feelings, all the mixed emotions, all bottled up into that one point, and it doesn't matter how you feel because no matter what, you got to get in there and you got to do what you got to do. So, there's nothing quite like it. It's it's insane. It's intense.
Listen, I was able to cover the last Knucklemania. I've been at the Wells Fargo, which is now the Xfinity Center, for Sixers games, Flyers games, playoff games, things of that nature. The energy I felt during the fights in that building was just second to none.
Yeah,
And I've been in that building for UFC events. I was at both 101 and 133 in that building, and it wasn't it was double what it was in that at that time, and that was, if you ask me, that was when the UFC and MMA was at its height. So I do think it's something that even as media fan, etc. I think it is an addicting thing. So I can
yeah.
definitely feel why you guys
BKFC
want to get out
is
there, man.
It's up and coming for a reason, man. The product sells itself. It's exciting. It's relatable. It's fast paced. You're not gonna get bored watching it. Like
There's
it's
nowhere
just
to hide. You like
and
where like
yeah. When you go to a live event too, you do absolutely. You feel that energy. You feed off those people, and the fighters feed off you as well. So it's again that word intense. It's amazing being out there, being a part, whether you're in the crowd or if you're the one actually fighting. It's a must.
now going from the intense part of your life to going into some other things, like obviously we're human beings at the end of the day, and there's stuff that's near and dear to our heart. Obviously, you're the redneck for a reason. Do you love training more, or do you love hunting more?
Listen. Catch me on what day it is. I might answer that differently. I love training. I love hunting. I love just doing whatever it is at that point in time. I feel like doing. I just do me.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Now, one of the other things, like when I always like check up on you guys, see what you're into, what do you support. I see that you're a staunch supporter of the autism community. You like bringing awareness to that. So obviously, I want to ask you, because obviously I have people involved in my life that are near and dear to me that you know are involved in autism for obvious reasons. What made you decide that's one of the things that you like to kind of champion and support and bring awareness to?
I have my nephew's autistic. So it's just I see things a little differently than most people. And knowing what they go through and how people treat them, not necessarily differently, but everything has to be a certain way, understanding, because there's things that are, so to speak, out of their control. It's very complicated, but the more people know, the more awareness that goes to it, the better things are, especially for them.
Yeah, it's like, listen, I don't. We're far from away from being anywhere where some of these people can live normal lives. Sometimes it's they're high on the spectrum. Sometimes they can live normal lives without any heavy drugs or anything like that. So it's one of those things where we're still in the phase where the most awareness we can get to it is the best. It's one of the reasons why I love my hometown Philadelphia Eagles, because they do a lot of autism stuff. Is one of the main things that Jeffrey Lurie kind of pushes. They have a biking event that raises funds for autism awareness. Where all the players do it, the fans do it, etc. And a lot of the stuff that when they do events in the community, it's based around that. So it's like, when you see professional teams that they champion this, obviously, we're a long way away from having, some of these people being able to be well off without it. But, I'm glad that we're seeing more and more, athletes, both, bigger name superstars of whatever sports they do, into the combat sports athletes doing what they can do to kind of champion and getting the word out there. So definitely glad to see that you're one of them, Mr. Mundell.
Yeah.
And wanted to get this one out there. Obviously, seeing that you're doing a giveaway from one of your T-shirts, so I just wanted to put it out there. Seeing that you guys are doing, how did you get involved with Full Blast, and what kind of merch should we see doing that outside of the obvious giveaway that you guys are running?
Well, Full Blast, let's go back to them real quick. Like, I met Chris. He approached me, wanting to really push the brand. Full Blast right now, people see it as just like a clothing line, but it's really a brand. Like they want to be known across the board. It can be anything, for anything in your life. It's just talking about getting after it, going full blast, attacking it, and doing what you got to do and getting it done. So whether it be hunting, fishing, going out there playing football, any of the sports you want to do, dirt biking, it doesn't matter, all the way down to the combat sports. It's just getting out there and getting after it. Full blast.
Yeah, it sounds like a good company to kind of get behind, especially when there's a couple things that definitely can attach to yourself. So I'm gonna put that up there one more time, guys. If you want to enter into Full Blast's giveaway with Mr. Mundell, make sure you follow, like the given post on Dave's like page, and tag some friends in your comments. Share the link wherever you can. Get as many entries as you can, and then you could potentially win that giveaway. Are you doing like a signed T-shirt, or is it just a regular T-shirt? How's that one working?
They're signed.
Okay, so there you go. Anyone that wants to win some signed merch from Dave Mundell, make sure you go on the Facebook page and share that stuff out, so you guys can get your chance to win. I always like to try to find some of the stuff you guys are getting involved with, so we can kind of share our platform, so we can get some more attention to that. Now we were talking about Mike and his money issues, right? I don't know if you've seen this, right? But Jake Paul had a big fight. Obviously, he got paid a lot of money, and one of the things that he championed about that is, he isn't really having to pay taxes because he has moved himself out into Puerto Rico. Obviously, when we hear stuff from Jake, we have to take some of it with a grain of salt, for obvious reasons. But, when we see what Mike's going through, and then you see Jake basically going out there, in my opinion, it's like rubbing Mike's nose in it, so to speak, that he just got several hundred bags of cash, and he ain't paying any tax.
Shitty things happen to shitty people. I think Mike's just getting a taste of his own medicine. It's his own damn problem.
Oh man! And speaking of which, did you catch the Joshua fight? Did you pay any attention to that, or just seeing what happened on social media after the fact?
Yeah, I just seen all the highlights and stuff.
We all kind of knew what was going to happen. Listen, I'm hard on Jake for obvious reasons, because of how he would go about picking his opponents, and if it wasn't for Tank having his legal problems, we would have seen it again. And for him accepting that fight and taking that fight, knowing full well knowing what was gonna happen to him, I'll give him his respect for that. But let's see him continue to fight guys, at his weight class, not guys that are 25, 30 years older than him and several weight classes below him. Because technically, isn't that what Mike Perry did in his last fight, picking on Jeremy Stevens, who's two weight classes?
Choosing people who are smaller than him, giving him the edge, always having to have some type of handicap in every single one of his fights so that he could edge it out. And then he still ain't putting people to sleep. He might be getting people to quit, but that's lame.
Yeah, listen, I've never really been a Perry fan. I respect him because he's an athlete. Obviously, anyone that gets in there puts it on the line. I have some respect for it, but like you sitting there saying, there's these guys that they definitely pick and choose and make sure they have the advantage. Like even like when we had the Ferreira and Borga fight. Christine Ferreira had a lot of stipulations to take that fight, hydration clauses, all this other stuff. So when you're asking to take on this big fight because you're this or you're that, there shouldn't be any type of stipulations like that. But that's neither here nor there. We need to find that the real warriors in this, and I believe you're one of them. One of them things I didn't get a chance. I mean, I think your nicknames kind of obvious, but I have a thing with nicknames. I'm one of these guys that if you're given a nickname, you shouldn't be giving it to yourself, right? If you're an
absolutely
athlete,
you got to earn. Someone else has got to call you by it. It's got to stick, and that's how you take off with it.
Now yours obviously, I think it's something you picked up for obvious reasons. But what was the origin behind Redneck?
So you guys know my head coach is Jihad. So training with him, always walking out, these black coaches, and I'm coming out with a cowboy hat, and that's just what they called me, was Redneck. I had a different nickname at the time, but that's what they always called me. I liked it better. It just made more sense, and so we ran with it.
Now going back to the Knucklemania, we get to see the self-coined most hated man in combat sports, Mr. Lex Ludlow, is going to be taking on Zach Kalmus. Now, for all intents and purposes, when he came in, everyone's calling him the Grizzly Bear. Lex is, definitely takes pull from the wrestling world. Are you interested to see that matchup at all?
I had a little conversation with him, so yeah, just because now I know who he is, I want to watch.
Lex is a fun dude. I've been interviewing him since he was an amateur, 10 years ago. I definitely love to see that he's getting the attention that he is, and he's hopefully gets a big win February 7th. He claims he's gonna put Zach down in the second round. We'll see if he's able to do with what his teammate did, because he does train with Pat Brady there. So we'll see if he can kind of repeat the Kalmus performance that he put on at Knucklemania 5. But it's definitely going to be an interesting one. Before we get ready to wrap this one up, I always ask you guys this question. We always hear goats and who's this, that, and the third. I think it's the hardest thing to do in combat sports to ever sit there and say there's a goat when we talk about combat sports. But I think the only fair way we could, because there's so many weight classes, eras, etc. So I think the only fair way to do it is the Mount Rushmore. If you had your Mount Rushmore of combat sports athletes, whether it be boxing, bare knuckle, MMA, whatever, who would be your athletes that you would put on the Mount Rushmore?
So you said across any combat?
Yeah, it does. It could be boxing. It could be MMA. It could be just.
Okay, so we got people like Mayweather and McGregor. Those big for up to date stuff. And of course, then like Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson.
Oh, pick straight bangers. That wasn't even a hard one for you.
I really don't pay much attention to any of this stuff now, so like I'm even
listen.
Those just seem to be
not surprise me, because a lot of times I ask that question and be like, I don't even know who to tell you, man. I don't even really follow sport. I just train it. I just do the fight, and that's about it. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with Mayweather or putting Conor on there. They've helped grow this sport so much to a point. It's you can't ignore it. And then Muhammad Ali is just he's the original trash talker, man. So I mean, how can you not love what Muhammad did? And Mike was arguably the most feared man in boxing for the better part of 10 years, regardless if he got figured out at some point in time and the stuff like that. I mean, I think I asked it last week, and there was a question came across this one, is that do you ever feel there was a champion, a fighter that didn't realize how good we had it while they were on top until they were gone? And the photo was behind Anderson Silva, because obviously he just had that big knockout last week over Tyron Woodley, and I kind of agree with it to a point, because there was a point in time like he was like watching the Matrix, man. He was just annihilating guys, and it didn't matter if it was 85 or 205. He was one of those guys, and at some point in time, I don't know if it was just some of the matchups he was given, some of the ways he would go about fights, and it just. I feel like he's one of those guys, and I also put Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson on there. It's because he was just a special guy. He really made it possible for the lower weight classes to kind of really get eyes on them, at least in my opinion. But is there anyone you feel outside of the two names I just named that you just feel they didn't get the love they had when they were in their prime, when they were on their top, the most popular?
Still currently in my prime, but myself.
Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that.
I don't get noticed enough, like I just, I work my ass off.
I would just say, dude, Dave, be yourself, man. Don't try to.
I don't have a huge social media following.
Under his career, everyone hates him now just because he thinks like he's this version of Chael Sonnen that is just terrible, absolutely terrible.
I know what I'm capable of. I know the type of work that I put in. And I know my fight IQ, man, and I have not even scratched the surface of being able to show people what I'm actually capable of, and I go out there consistently just making this stuff look easy. The people who follow me, who actually ride with me, will tell me all the time, they're just so amazed because they're watching everybody else fight, all the other champions. They go in there, they come out, they look battered. I come out and I'm still clean, I'm not taking much damage, and I'm delivering a lot. Like I'm mangling my people, I'm putting them out. I'm actually putting them to sleep, not just making the ref step in and say, okay, that's enough. Although I've also done that. Like I'm out there. I'm constantly proving through my fighting what I'm capable of. And even though I don't got the social media to back it up, it's all coming together, and people are going to start seeing real soon.
And now you can understand why Dave wants that legacy fight so bad.
Yeah.
Now, how we always wrap this one up, Dave, is I kind of throw the floor over to you. Anyone you would like to thank, training partners, teammates, shoot out your aforementioned social media sites, any sponsors you have, and any parting words. The time is yours, my friend.
FCC, Hamilton Health and Wellness, and then Full Blast, man. Thank you guys so much. You guys, help me train in these huge gaps between my fights, which is ridiculous. You guys keep me pumping out, able to do what I want to do. And without you, that wouldn't be possible. Of course, with the fans, always coming through, watching the fights, staying connected to the social media channels and all that. Thank you so much for all the support. And you guys just stay tuned, man, because somebody's going to get their ass whooped.
Well, listen, that's why everyone is staying tuned, because they want to see somebody get their ass whooped. So, Dave, as always, it's a pleasure catching up with you. I know you got a lot going on today, so appreciate the time as always. Do your thing, man. I'm looking forward to the potential fight announcement, regardless if it's the most valuable loser, or if we hear you get put in that $25 million baddest man tournament. Whatever happens to be next is next. I'm going to be excited to see who they put up against the Redneck. It's going to be fun. So appreciate the time, brother.
Of course.
We'll do it again sometime soon.
Sounds good.
All right, Dave. Have a good afternoon, my friend. All right, everyone. That was Dave, the Redneck Mundell. one of the most under realized, under respected guys that we have in the BKFC. One of their champions, he just does not get the love he deserves. Well, we're going to give him the love he deserves here on the South Florida Tribune. Another fun episode in the book. This was another episode of The Real and the Rare. I'm your host, Steve. We will be joining you again Monday for some J&S Philly Sports Stop and a lot more fun stuff going here on the channel. Like I said, we just passed 1 million views on the YouTube channel. We're going to be doing some more giveaways. So keep yourself locked in. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and share all the love. Also, QR code up in the top corner. Check out the websites, the articles from our great writers. Other than that, I'm Steve. This was another episode of The Real and the Rare. Peace out, my friends. Catch you on the rebound.